What's going on, everybody? This is Brandon with the Waterfowl, back at it again. Um, Today's video is more on what I carry in my blind bag, the different pieces of tools or just extra items that I have added over the years, or that I have needed while I'm out in the field, didn't have, so now I make sure I do have it. So let's see here. First things first, make sure you have your calls. It's very hard to call any geese or any ducks if you don't have your calls with you. I've been there a time or two where I forgot my calls, but luckily my buddies had their calls, and whether they were good callers or not, at least they heard their calls. Also, the lanyard that I got, I just recently purchased this, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's got more of that Sitka camo design to it, but it is by Upper Duck. Let's see if we can see that. It's by Upper Duck. I got this recently at a Duck Fest here in Missouri. Well, in Springfield, but in St. Peters, Missouri. And I'm pretty happy with it. It's not big, it's not bulky. You know, I don't have a lot of duck or goose calls on here. I've got a duck call, my whistle call, and I've got two goose calls. One is the Goat by S2 Calls. Another goose call that I have on here is by Ducks Waterfowl. Not a bad goose call. It does the trick. Can't complain. My duck call is by it's by Hadel's Calls, Hadel's Game Call. Definitely, a nice little call. It's a double reed. They call it the DR85. This call, probably like 20-25 bucks. I just love it. I mean, it's easy to blow. I mean, I'm barely blowing. I mean, I'm barely putting any air through the call, and it's just, it's easy. Take apart, clean the reeds, or adjust the reeds how you need to, or throw in some new reeds if you need to. I mean, this is just an easy call to blow. It's not hard at all. Then the Goose Call by S2 Calls. It's another easy call. It's not hard. I mean, barely any air. Easy call. Then I got my whistle call here. Easy call. Ducks call. The Ducks Goose Call, I've got to do a little bit of tuning to before it's completely ready. I thought I was going to have a harebrained idea, and I was going to try and, make this call sound a little bit higher pitched, because I didn't have a snow goose call or anything like that. And so I tried getting fancy and thinking I was going to be an engineer, and now I got to mess with it and try to get it back on track. But so I'll make sure that I put the links for those different calls down in the description below, and also for the lanyard. The lanyard was awesome. I mean, 20-25 bucks, not expensive at all, and I really like it. It's well put together, and it's got that little leather piece on the side for, the Upper Ducks. Basically their little logo, their little extra touch to the lanyard, which I think is kind of cool. Makes it a little different instead of, from other lanyards. Also, I got my game tote here, which I think they're a necessity. And what I like about my game tote is on here. So on here, you have these little clips here, these little latches. And so after you put your dead birds in and everything like that, you can take these little latches and latch them over. So that way, your game, if you got a full game tote on both sides, if it comes up like this or something, they're not falling out. So that's a good thing. That's one thing I definitely like. Another thing I like is and I make sure I have with me all times. Not so much during, like the early part of the season, but definitely later in the winter when it gets cold and you got good winds. I mean, I'm probably talking 25, 30 mile an hour winds. There's some days where it's a little bit stronger. Freezing rain, snow, rain, and it's just cold temps. I always make sure I have this in my blind bag, because there's nothing worse of already being cold and then having that cold winter, that cold weather get on the back of your neck. It just makes it miserable. Let's see here. And then another two things I make sure I always have, especially for my Mojos, or let's see here, Mojos, my headlamp, or my flashlights, or my spotlight, batteries. Always make sure I got batteries, because there's nothing worse than being out in the field or having a flashlight or a headlamp go out on you, and now you're in the dark and you've got no batteries. I mean, yeah, you may have your cell phone, but cell phones around water, somehow it never goes well. So always make sure you got batteries. Another thing I like to have is my Gerber multi-tool knife that has come and saved my neck multiple times. It definitely has saved my keister a time or two, and I'm happy I got this. So, always make sure you have some kind of knife, or maybe a multi-knife that you can use, or that you have in your blind bag, because you never know what kind of situation you may be in where you may need a knife or you may need something and you don't have it. So these things are a lifesaver. Another thing that I have here, it's my life gear. My girlfriend's parents got me this, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. I didn't really know exactly what I'd use it for. I'm like, yeah, it's a flashlight, but what I like about it is this bottom end. And it is straight, I think it's just awesome, because, I do go and I do hunt out of lodge pits, or stand-up blinds, or, laydowns. So when I'm in my laydown, instead of, having the front end on or something like that, I can have the back end on, and I can even hang it up. It's got a little ring on here. Let me turn off this light. It's got a little ring on there where you can take it, you can hang it up, click the button. You can either have it, you can have the bottom light facing down or on, so that way, it's the light's on the ground. Or, gosh darn it, or you can just have your light on the top. And however you do it, it's kind of cool to have. And what I like about this is it's light. It doesn't add a bunch of extra weight to my blind bag, and it's actually pretty freaking useful, and I'm glad I have it, because there's times where you have a headlamp on and you're in the pit and there's no light in the pit, or you're in your stand-up blind or your A-frame, whatever, and there's no light and you can't see down on the floor. Pop this thing on, hang it up, click it, and you got light on the ground. And you're not having to try to get your headlamp out and fix it, or try to find it or anything like that. This thing's actually comes in pretty handy. Let's see here. Snack-wise, Sweet Baby Ray's Sweet and Spicy is my go-to for my beef jerky and for a snack. I like to have this. I like to have a couple Red Bulls in my bag, and maybe like a couple moon pies. A lot of you may not know what a moon pie is, but I like a moon pie. They're pretty tasty. Thanks a lot, Dad. You got me hooked on them, and ever since I was a little kid, my pops got me hooked on a moon pie, and now every time when I go hunting, I like to have 1 or 2 moon pies, beef jerky, my Red Bull, and maybe some jerky links, but beef sticks, I mean. That's pretty much it, though. Now, also, I see a lot of people talking about hydration and having things for water and this and that, and that is so true. I like to make sure I have water with me. I like to make sure I have some way of keeping my water cool. It may not, it may not be ice cold, but I'd rather have cool water than hot water. And this is a insulated Ozark Trail jug that holds 64 ounces of water, and I can just swivel this off, or I can clip it on and hang it up somewhere, and I've got 64 ounces of water with me at all times, until I start drinking on it, that's of course. But this is definitely something I would look at investing in, even if it's a smaller one. Even if it's a smaller one, definitely look at investing in something like this, because instead of carrying a bunch of bottles of water with you, or those water packs where you can stick the nozzle in your mouth and get a drink or whatever, I've heard people getting problems with those. With this, all I gotta do is boom, I've got access to 64 ounces, and I can just take it, swivel it, put it back on, it's sealed. Let's see here, another thing. I use Black Cloud. Black Cloud is an ammunition that I use for waterfowl hunting. I just started using this probably about 3 years ago, and I have been nothing but happy with this. Let's see here. It's definitely an awesome ammunition. Sorry, just reading a little bit, but the patterns for this, with this ammunition, the patterns have been tight. They hold a tighter pattern, and I just can't describe, or I just can't express enough how important it is to have good ammunition that holds a tight pattern, more pellets in the kill zone, and you want something with a good speed, a good velocity, and keep a good knockdown power with it. And Black Cloud definitely has that. Yeah, it's a little more expensive. I think they're closer to about 20 bucks a pop, 20 bucks a box, but I'll spend 20 bucks a box, or I'll buy a case of it for the season, and I won't have any issues, and I'll be fine. I don't have any issues with the whole, you got your cells in the chambers, and you pull on the trigger, and it just goes click, click, or it doesn't do anything at all. And then you have to eject, and then finally that next shell comes in, and now you're trying to hurry up and get back on your game, or get back up on the bird, and you're trying to shoot. You got missed shots. I don't have any problems with that. None whatsoever. During rain, snow, freezing rain, sleet, cold temperatures, whatsoever, I don't have a problem with that ammunition. It's been nothing but reliable. Another thing that I make sure I keep with me when I go out, because it allows me to carry more shells, because I'll hunt in the morning, and then 9 times out of 10 I'm turning around and I'm going out and I'm hunting in the evening. Just because, if you got that buddy who calls up, and you just got done duck hunting or something, and your buddy calls up and it's goose season, and he's like, hey, dude, the honkers, or, whatever, dude, we got them. We're watching a massive group, blah, 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 you need to get over here now. So you're like, okay, cool, I've got all my equipment with me, and they're like, dude, just bring it, whatever, just get here. And so you're basically finishing up your hunt, getting to the truck, loading up, and you're trying to get out of there as quick as possible and get to where you're going. So yeah, I have a box in my blind bag, but then also I have this, which I can put shells on the front end and then on the back. And then also, I can open up the middle and toss in a bunch of shells as well. And I can't tell you how many times this thing has saved my neck in, you know, in that scenario of I need to get to another place because I'm getting ready to go on another hunt with some buddies, and I'm wondering, okay, do I have shells? Do I have this? Do I have that? Blah, blah. Oh, crap. Wait, no. Do I have shells? Yeah. I got shells. That thing has saved my neck a time or two. And I'm glad I made the purchase. So, definitely look into those. Definitely check them out. And look at possibly getting yourself one because you never know. May come in handy or may save your keister a time or two. And this last thing, excuse me, this last thing I'm going to show you, I call them wood chip cupcakes. So basically what it is it's candle oils. Well, not candle oils, but it's a type of oil that basically forms up just like a candle does, but it also acts as a flamant. And what you can do is I take wood chips, put them in there, put them in a little cupcake wrapping, which you don't have to take off when you do this, when you make them, and when you light them up. You can just take them, set them down, light them, or light them then set them down, however you want to do it. And these things will burn for about 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even longer depending on the size that you make them. And I have about 3 of these with me at all time because you never know when you may run into an emergency and you know you're in that emergency and you need a fire, you need to get warm quick, and these things are a great way to do that. Also, I like to make sure I have a lighter in my bag at all times because you never know if you may need one. You know, burn a piece of string off or cut a piece of string. If you don't have a knife, you can use fire to do that, or to light these up, and they're definitely helpful. So always make sure you know you have those with you. But yeah, so like in my front pouch here, I've got my face paint, I've got my lighter. Also, if you don't have one, you get yourself a striker. And this thing's, oh, hold on, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but you got your striker. These little things are nice, you know, they're awesome. And if you don't have this, whether for turkey hunting, deer hunting, camping, whatever, I suggest you get one and you make it a priority to have this in your arsenal or in your blind bag, because you never know when the case may arise where you need it and you don't have it. This is hunting, guys. Hunting can be very fun. Hunting can be awesome. It can be a good time. Hunting can get very dangerous and very scary very quickly. For those of you who have fallen through ice, it's not fun, especially when you fall through the ice and you go completely under, and then you come back up. And you're trying to get to ground. You're trying to get a hold of ice, and you're trying to get back to where your feet are solid and you're not in water anymore. It can be a very scary situation. So, you know, or you're out in the field and, you know, weather's getting really crappy real quick and you're completely lost, and you end up having to hunker down real fast and make up some kind of makeshift cover and get a fire going because it's what you need to keep warm. So make sure you look at look at everything you got in your bag, and if you need to add a couple things, then add a couple things. It's better to have it and be able to use it than not have it and need it. So You know, I definitely suggest looking at some of, if if you don't have some of the things that that I went through today. If you don't have them, look at getting them, because they're not cheap. And these the wood chip cupcakes, they're not hard to make at all. They're not. And if you guys want, I can put a video up of how to make them. Just go ahead and comment down below if you guys want me to make that, and I can make a video up of showing you guys how to make those. They're not hard at all. You need wood chips. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a candle wax that you just have to burn, and you pour them into the cupcake sleeves in your pans, the cupcake pans or muffin pans. You put your muffin sleeves in first. You pour in the wax. You drizzle your wood chips, or you can put the wood chips in first. Then you pour the wax in over it, and you basically just let them, or you can put them in the fridge, and you let them, you leave them in there for, I think it's like 24 hours, just to make sure that they're solid. And then, or you can leave them out in room temperature and wait, leave them alone for 24 hours. Let them sit, let them solidify, and let them harden up and get ready, or to where they're ready. And there you go. You got wood chip cupcakes that can save your butt in a crunch. So, or when you're going out camping, instead of trying to sit there and pour gas or anything like that, you got those. Get your kindling together. Get that lit up. Get your kindling on top, and it'll save you a ton of time. Trust me. But yeah, so that's it. That's it for this video. I will definitely make sure that I leave the descriptions, or not the descriptions, but the links for the different pieces down in the description below. Also, make sure you go check me out on The Waterfowl Life on Instagram. Make sure you check me out on Facebook, Snapchat, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that like and that notification button, so that way you get those notifications as to when I upload new videos. So that way you guys can keep following the channel and keep enjoying each videos that I post. Also, don't be afraid to leave a comment, or anything that you think I may need to cover, or anything that you guys you may have questions about. I definitely have no problems answering questions or making new videos of what you guys think or what you guys would like to see. So that's that. Hopefully these birds get down here sooner than later, and hopefully we can start getting some videos up of me smacking some birds, and you guys can see some action instead of just seeing these little tutorial videos. But till then, y'all have a good one. God bless.